Warning: this video contains an unhealthy amount of trash jokes and Gen Z humor. Please proceed at your own risk. Press CC for English subtitles. Hi, GM, and welcome to Brainrot Breakdowns Episode 1. In this video, we're going to be covering EigenLayer in 3 difficulty levels: Noob, Pro, and Trenchwarrior. EigenLayer was founded in 2021, and some notable figures include Sriram Kannan, Gajesh Nayak, Matt Murray, and Dwayne The Rock Johnson. EigenLayer is what happens when an English major decides to enter crypto. EigenLayer is a 105 IQ person's idea of a 130 IQ person's idea of what a 100 IQ person considers as a 140 IQ project. What? Some of your favorite projects use EigenLayer right now. For example, Mantle, MegaETH, and ZK Sync. Anyway, that's enough yapping. Let's get to the explanation. There is a dense smog of mystery around EigenLayer, but on a high level, it is actually very easy to explain. Do you want to create a decentralized network? Yes. Do you have the money to attract new users? Do you have a way to prevent bad actors from coming in? No? Alright then buddy, pack it up and get the fuck out. Just kidding. That's where EigenLayer comes into play. You see, EigenLayer is a protocol built on top of Ethereum. But it's not an L2, and instead, kind of more like an L1.5, you're basically just renting security from Ethereum. Now what does that mean? Let's explore. The core functionality of EigenLayer lies in the fact that you can deploy services called AVSs or actively validated services. Wait a second. Turns out they renamed it because people were finding it too hard to understand. And now they're called Autonomous Verifiable Services. Makes more sense. You can think of them as hybrid applications which use both on-chain and off-chain components. There are three main parties involved in the functioning of AVSs: Restakers, operators, and users. You can call it a trust marketplace, even though that sounds like something you would see on the shady side of the internet. The concept is pretty simple. Use Ethereum's existing security to secure other protocols and projects. Here's a quick rundown of how it works. Someone who is already a staker in Ethereum can reuse that stake and restake it into EigenLayer. After they have restaked, they can opt into validating for various AVSs and earn rewards. These rewards will depend on the AVSs they stake into. They can either delegate other parties, called operators, to run an AVS on their behalf, or run it themselves, thus doing the roles of both staker and operator. AVSs can create operator sets for different tasks and set staking amounts for them. For example, let's say task A is assigned to operator 1, 3, and 4, and task B is assigned to operator 1, 5, and 6. So operators can run multiple AVSs and be parts of multiple operator sets as long as they have the required staking amount to joining those sets. If they misbehave, their stake gets slashed. Unique staking is a concept which limits the amount of tokens that can be slashed. Using the previous example, if operator 1 messes up task A, only the amount at stake for task A can be slashed, not what is staked for task B. And that's what makes EigenLayer so beautiful. Remember MegaETH? Yeah, they use an AVS called EigenDA, where the DA stands for data availability. They use it for off-chain data storage, and it is the core reason why they boast of such a high throughput. Now let's dive deeper into EigenLayer. Let's figure out what they mean by crypto economic security. If you were to spin up a new blockchain and use proof of stake as a means of security, you'd have to start from scratch. Let me give you an example. Let's say protocol A is secured by $1 million worth of stake. You spin up a new protocol, which is protocol B, and somehow manage to get 100k in stake. Now, if you've ever been within 100 feet of a classroom, you realize that A has 10 times more value locked in as stake compared to B. So effectively, if someone were to attack B, they would only need to attack the stake of 100,000. Whereas if B was built on top of A, the attacker would be messing with $1.1 million worth of stake, which is both A and B combined, which means the cost required to corrupt this system would be significantly higher, and that means it's way more secure. In this example, Ethereum is A and AVSs on EigenLayer are B. So in the term crypto economic, crypto refers to ETH and economic refers to the cost of corruption. Restaking can either be native or via liquid staking tokens. Because let's be real, most of us are too broke to be able to afford 32 ETH. In native restaking, you specify the address of an EigenLayer contract in the validator's credentials, thus giving it access to your funds for slashing. And in liquid staking, you can buy as much ETH as your descending portfolio allows and stake it using services like Lido. You'll get staked Ether which you can use for restaking in EigenLayer. Now, you might be saying to yourself, what the fuck is this intersubjective that I keep seeing everywhere on EigenLayer, and where does that come into play? Well, it's something that is neither objective nor subjective, as the name suggests. For example, 9 plus 10 is equal to 19 is an objective fact unless you are someone who is emotionally attached to wine.
21? You stupid!
Subjective would mean something that is completely based on your opinion. If I were to say gulab jamun is the best dessert in the world, that would be a subjective statement. You are entitled to your own opinion and you may disagree with me. I think you'd be wrong, but still. Intersubjective means cases where judgment is required, but there is still broad agreement among reasonable observers. For example, if someone were to flirt with random women at a formal crypto conference, all reasonable attendees will find it weird. The keyword being reasonable here. A lot of you people are pretty disgusting. In the context of EigenLayer, objective faults are those that can be proven on chain, and opinions are irrelevant. Subjective faults are those that can neither be proven on chain nor can be verified by external observers. Intersubjective means faults that cannot be proven on chain, but for which there would be broad agreement among external observers about whether a violation occurred. One thing that might not be clear is how it comes into play, and that's okay, because I haven't explained it yet. The eigen token is called the intersubjective work token. So in objective faults, your restaked ETH gets slashed, and in intersubjective faults, your eigen gets slashed. EigenLayer does not cover subjective faults. The way eigen gets slashed is pretty cool too, as it's not the regular way of slashing. You see, eigen is actually a wrapper token over b-eigen, or backing eigen. If someone disagrees with the decision taken in the system due to an intersubjective fault, they burn some of their b-eigen and create a fork of it. Let's call it b-eigen 2. They, along with anyone else who agrees with their decision, can switch to this fork, and over time, if their calculations were right, the free and open markets would converge on their fork and will thus devalue b-eigen. Eigen will then become a wrapper around b-eigen 2 and not b-eigen. This is called slashing by forking, and that is how EigenLayer works. I think EigenLayer is a pretty fire piece of technology, and it's the kind of thing that makes you wonder, hey, why didn't I think of this? And if you are actually thinking that, there's a video just for you, and I'll link it in the description. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a huge dense cloud of smoke surrounding how eigen works, and it only gets more confusing when someone sees words like intersubjective and connect everything to everything, no matter how true they may be. And that's a part of the reason why I made this video. Team Eigen is making efforts to ease developer onboarding, and one good example is how they changed what AVS stands for. It just makes more sense. There's still a lot of things that can be done, and I'm happy to see that the team is actually putting in the work needed. There is still hope for ETH maxis. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about the video in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video.